Hello, good evening once again, and welcome to Inspirational Moments with me, Billy. Live by design, not by default, as usual. This will be the last live stream for the time being, and after this, I will be taking a short break. Okay, I don't know exactly how short is my break going to be, but in the meantime, when I'm not coming on live, then what I'm likely to do is to be making short little video clips based on the training that we provide, and we'll be posting them on our YouTube channel at Billy Quack International. So please do join us in our YouTube channel, subscribe, make a comment there, do share the pages as usual. Now, before I continue on with this evening, I'd like you to take a moment to think about people whom you know can benefit from what we are discussing this evening, but for some reasons they're not here. Perhaps you'd like to share, start a watch party, and give me some comments, give me a thumbs up, and let me know where you are joining us from. Okay, so let me quickly go to the comment boxes. Good evening, Kit. Thank you for joining us again. Hello, Mindy. Kit is already NLP Master Trainer for, I don't know how many years, lost count already, but you've been training for years already by now. Hello, Mindy. Hello, Aloysius from Toronto. Okay, thank you for joining us faithfully every week. Thank you very much for that. Okay, so let me start off by taking some questions. Like the session this evening was intended to be more of a Q&A, where there are no fixed syllabus or topics or content, but very much depends on what questions you have about being a professional trainer, a coach. What is this career like? What are perhaps some of the skills and capabilities and knowledge you need to equip yourself with? Where can you obtain this knowledge, and how can you go about making a head start in this business? Okay, so just a quick brief. I started off developing trainers training program. So typically we call them the train the trainer. So I started developing these programs around at the year 2000. So it's been about 20 years now. Because I was requested by the Training and Development Association that is based in Singapore, where they run a program called the Professional Diploma in Training and Development. And what happened was that they would then have designed 8 modules that trainers need to be equipped with. This, by the way, I think is the foundation before what we're having these days, called the ACTA trainer certification or trainers training program. So that was the background story behind it. Yeah, so I was approached to specifically teach one of the module, and the module is titled Delivering Training. Right, because after running a few modules, they discovered that there were relatively excuse me, they discovered that there were relatively few local or Asian trainers around who does this professionally on their own. Most trainers are working in the corporate companies, in the training department, in the HR department, and doubling up as a trainer. All right, so they wanted someone with a little different experience to come in to teach these classes. All right, so I went in and I taught the module on delivering training, which is very much what I like to do, the hands-on, the skills bit. Yeah, and then later on, I was also approached to take on 2 more modules, and one of which is the business of training. Again, because back then there were very few trainers who run training as a career, as a business on their own. And so some business skills would be required for the aspiring trainers. Okay, and so I went on to teach that module as well. So there's 2 modules, and then there's a practical module, of which the students get to pick which which topic do they want to measure or focus in, and then they have to do a group project from there. So that's the background. And then I went on, and before I knew it, I already taught 13 batches of trainers who comes from all different walks of life. Expatriates who are also based in Singapore were also in the program. So instantaneously, when they graduated and when they go back to their respective countries, I have already got trainers whom I've trained in several different countries. Yeah, so that was the background. And then later on, when I stopped doing that kind of teaching, because I was very tied up with a lot of travels for corporate training. Corporate companies would take me, around the world to teach and deliver training for them that are custom designed for them. So I stopped there for a moment. And because going by the professional diploma, there's a fixed schedule and roster, which doesn't work for me due to the traveling schedule and the training schedule. My team and I decided, and we launched a public training program called the Masterclass Train the Trainer program, which includes everything that I taught with the professional diploma, as well as other modules that were taught by other trainers or other lecturers. We put it into a solid program that any trainers, whether seasoned or aspiring trainers, they can all benefit from it, right? And so that program also has been running for a good 20 years now. In the course of it, we have trained and worked with, by now, thousands of trainers that spread all over the world to many different countries. Yeah, and it is definitely very rewarding bringing people who are keen, who have the X factor, to come into this business, into this career, where it is, I have to say, very rewarding, both intrinsically because you're doing something meaningful, you're doing something purposeful, you're helping people along the way. And that's also why whenever I'm asked, what keep you going after 23 years being in the business and you're still doing training and despite the health and everything, you are still pushing on and persevering. Reason is that the main reason being our participants, so you are the reason why we continue to do what we do to the best of our abilities. Yeah. All right, so let me begin by taking some questions, which I hope by now we have some questions for me to get started with already. Okay, so Mindy has a first question from Mindy. Yeah, always can count on Mindy to keep the discussion going, right? Okay, how do you know if someone can be a good trainer? Okay, pretty loaded question. I mean, can you tell? Can you tell just by looking at someone whether a person is a good trainer or not? I think very often, no, we can't just tell like that. I mean, are good trainers born or are good trainers made? All right, so first, they have to be born. Of course, then along the way, it's all a learning process. Yeah. So I think anyone and everyone with the right mindset, with the right heart, can develop the skills to become a good trainer. Right. But if you were to ask me, then I would say the prerequisite is most important. Right. Like when I sent out messages to the various groups of graduates, because we run these public certification training programs for coaches, trainers, and speakers. As with every group, they would form a WhatsApp chat group, So I was sending out a reminder to them about this evening session so that we can carry on talking about what we've been chatting about in the group chat. And that is about the business of training, speaking, and coaching. Yeah. I think first and foremost is having the right mentality. I have people who ask me, does being a trainer, a speaker, and being a coach make good money? I think my first instinctive response is, if you're looking at making money, then you may not want to become a trainer, a speaker, and a coach, because it is hard-earned money. So you earn your money, you don't make your money. If, however, your intention is purely from the making money perspective, and along the way maybe helping people, so it depends on which is your priority, then perhaps it's better off you run it as a training organization, as a company, as a business, instead of you yourself being the trainer, the speaker, and a coach, because it is a full-time job. Yeah. So how do we know if someone can be a good trainer? I think the starting point would be the right mindset. Are you thinking of coming into this career of being a trainer, a speaker, and a coach because you are living your life purpose, because it is something meaningful for you, because this is what lights your fire. This is the reason, giving training, sharing information, knowledge, equipping people is the very reason why you wake up every morning to do what you do. Then I think that would be the first thing I would take into consideration. Yeah. So having the right mindset, yeah, having the right heart, doing things that are meaningful, that helps people, that adds value along the way. And of course, as with any profession, when you get good at it, then you get rewarded financially as well. Not to mention that over and above, there's a lot of appreciation, a lot of recognition, but definitely a lot of hard work along the way. So yes, someone with the right mindset, with the right heart, and the willingness to acquire the necessary skills, knowledge, capabilities, and continuously develop their capabilities. A lot of trainers, or at least all the trainers I know of, or heard of, or seen, whether I know them in person or not, everyone encourage people to take training. Truth of the matter is, I know of very few trainers who actually take training themselves. So the will to want to continuously learn, so that you can continuously add value to your clients, to your participants, that would be key to what I think make up or set you up potentially to become a good trainer. So I hope that answers your question. All right. So in other words, I'm looking at the right mindset, the right heart, and acquiring the knowledge, skills, capabilities, and be willing to develop them and continuously learn. These will be the main traits that I'll be looking out for before someone can even be a trainer. All right. And we're not even talking about being a good trainer yet. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, thank you for the question, Mindy. I hope I answered the question, and if not, then please follow up with any other questions you may have. Okay, so next comes Aloysius joining us this evening from Toronto. Okay, so Aloysius said, how do you pick your niche as a coach? All right, so yeah, the definitions, there you go. So this was actually one of the topic with our recently graduated certified NLP coaches intake. And one of the things was, I asked them, I said, do you plan to have a specialty? Do you plan to focus on a certain kind of coaching? All right. And so words like success coach comes in, confidence coach comes in. All right. Uh, and I said you can even put love guru if you want to, right? All right. So I think the area of coaching pretty much depends on yourself. Where do you have the most knowledge in? Which area are you most passionate about? All right, so we are looking at these two things: the areas that you're passionate about, the areas where you have power. Power meaning the area that you have extensive knowledge, and that you are really, really good at. And of course, a part of the power comes from the coaching skills for that matter. All right. And in this case, then I assume that Aloysius is specifically talking about coaching. Okay. So success coach is a very general term. I mean, success coach can be personal coaching. It can be helping people succeed in their career. It can be helping people succeed in life, helping students succeed in studies, and can be a variety of things. Helping performance, helping increase performance of athletes and sports. So success coach is a relatively general area. Yeah. So for me, I wouldn't say I don't pick a niche per se, but that because over the years I've been like developing different areas, and enhancing, increasing my own knowledge in the different areas of life and in our career. So I do a variety of coaching. So for me, it's just generally I do coaching. Yeah, and I do training and I do speaking. Yeah. All right, so in picking your niche, I think you need to ask yourself, where does your where is your experience from? What are you most experienced at? What are you best at? What is it that you do that that even on your worst day, you do it better than other people on their best day. That will probably be your area. All right. And if you want to, then you can develop and the area as your niche and market yourself as a niche. For new coaches, newly certified coaches who are coming into the field, I would say then that perhaps you want to explore and get a feel of things first, right? Coaching demand. I mean, generally everybody wants to be successful. So putting yourself as a success coach, opens yourself up to a big market that's available for you. The more specific your niche is, then the narrower your market will be. All right. So I think as a start, you may want to get a feel of how the market is like first, and whether your expertise, your chosen area of specialty, will be an area that has the right demand. Because if there isn't the right demand for your kind of specialty, then you either have to invest a lot of time, money, and effort, resources, etc., to grow that market. Otherwise, then we're talking about your own sustainability here as well. Yeah. So I say for a start, for new coaches, get the feet wet. Get into coaching. Deal with a variety of issues, especially if you have been trained to deal with a variety of issues or areas. Then get a feel of it first before you decide exactly what you want to go into. For me, for instance, if I'm looking at it from the corporate perspective, I specifically enjoy doing leadership coaching. I like doing executive coaching also because my background is business. I study business admin. I studied strategic marketing. I study human resource development. So leaders and the C-level people will be the people that I'm most interested in, I'm most passionate about to do coaching for. Yeah. With regard to the other area, then I will just simply say that I do life coaching. All right. So whether of late, interestingly, within the last week, I have actually got several, not just one or two. Okay, got like several inquiries with students who are now having trouble. We're talking about young men, young ladies who are in their first year junior college, so age between 16 to 18. Who are having a bit of a trouble catching up with the schoolwork and hence affecting confidence, morale, motivation, etc. Perhaps also, in part due to the prolonged fighting of this pandemic of the COVID-19, and now having to go back to school and instantaneously be able to pick up speed is causing a lot of unnecessary stress. And I have several requests for coaching. And of course, then one of the things that usually the parents are the ones that approach me to talk to me about it first. And the typical question is, do you coach a 17-year-old? Yes, we do. In fact, I also coach kids ranging from 9 years old and above. Right, of course, depending on their individual maturity level and all. I like to typically discuss what issues my clients want coaching in first. Because from there I can decide if it's better off that I make a recommendation for one of our graduates to do the coaching for the clients, or if the client insists and want me to do the coaching. So either one works for me. Right, Loisius, I hope I answer your question. Start with what you are really passionate about, what you really have power in. All right. And then from there, discover if you can pick up profit from that, because it's your sustainability as well. Yeah. Hello, Dylan. Thanks for joining us this evening. And here's a message from Kit. Okay. So after doing this for so long, how do you still find the drive and motivation to keep doing this and delivering training at the highest level? I think hence, I think the right mindset is important. So if we start off with the right mindset to begin with, the mindset to want to make what we do count, because it's meaningful, because it's purposeful, coupled with what I mentioned earlier on about continuous learning, I believe that anytime you learn something new, and then you bring these new skills and new knowledge into what you are doing, it always create a sense, a good sense of good feeling. It creates a sense of motivation, right? So learning should never cease, so that living never stop. I think on the one hand, as we are sharing knowledge and training and coaching other people, on the other hand, we must also be topping up our own knowledge so that we can continue to value add. For me, is the sparkle in the eye. It is the aha moments. And of course, those who have been to my training, I like to include a lot of humor in my training. The ability to make people laugh, that to me is priceless, right? So watching the sparkle in the eyes, knowing and hearing from them that they have obtained breakthroughs, they have obtained results from the training, from the keynote speeches or the coaching that I do, is what drives me to continuously do it at the highest level. All right. So at some point, um, I have been on the media, I've been on radios and all, where quite regularly a question is asked, like, how do you deal with competition? Who are your competitors in the market? Who are your mentors? Who are your role models? Okay, personally, I don't have competitors. Okay, and I don't mean it in a sense like, nobody can be my competitor, as in that good, right? No, it's not about that. But that we are all doing what we can to the best of our abilities. If the fellow a fellow trainer in the same profession, in the same industry, in the same market, is also offering their service, and their service add values to the client, then end of the day, I think we are all in the same business of transforming people, inspiring lives. Yeah, that's the slogan right there. Okay, so I think that's what really drives me. And by having no competition, it means my focus is always on bettering myself. My focus is always on improving on our program. So if I am teaching this same program for the second time, it has to be better than the first. If I'm doing it for the third time, it has to be better than the first and the second. And this is where I personally find motivation in. All right, just the thought of bettering myself, so that I can bring even more value to my clients, is what lights my fire. Yeah, so for me, that will be it. Okay, so welcome again. Okay, we got several people joining us from Myanmar. I believe they are our master practitioners, NLP master practitioners, as well as we have some I have not met yet. Okay, good evening, Ellen. Good evening, May. Okay, Ellen has a question here. Let me see. What are some of the common major challenges a new trainer or coach would face, and how to overcome it? Okay, if you're talking about having been through, I think the first thing you need to do is take a training. All right, get a trainer's training. All right, like in our case, we provide the master class, train the trainer. My time when I first got started, there were very few of this training available. I mean, there were very few Asian trainers to begin with, much less people to teach me how to do training. But nowadays, there are several programs out there. Malaysia has the HRDF trainers training. Singapore has the ACTA trainers training. And then, of course, there are trainers like myself who offer a public training program that train people to become trainers. Yeah. So I think the first thing you need to do is your first major challenge is picking the right training to go to, right? Because such training are professional, they are professional skills, so they ain't going to be cheap. All right, but it is an investment to your in your own career, in your own capabilities, in your own know-how. So I think the first major challenge is in finding a good trainer's training program to attend. All right, in doing so, we live in a world where information is readily available. So do your fact check. Like recently, I was tagged on a comment because a mutual friend's friend posted an experience of a training that he has gone through. He was so disappointed about the training and the standard and the trainer, the names were mentioned. He even went as far as to say that he would decertify himself after having paid quite significant in training investment cost fees, as well as the days of being in that training, only to come out being so disappointed. So I said, do your fact check, right? You know, trainers who has been around, we leave a trail. You can always find out information and things about us. You can always get recommendations, testimonies, right? Just so as with all things, um act with discernment. All right, do your own fact checking. And also, first major challenge, finding yourself the right training. Now once you get into it, then the next challenge is finding your clients. All right. So during the training, and for that I mean that a good trainer's training should already take you through discovering what would be the area that you want to focus on, and how to go about researching, developing, writing up your training program. So these are essential skills you must have. And I'm assuming that by taking on that training, it means you're already getting yourself prepared, right? Remember, if you do not invest time to prepare, you will waste time to repair. All right. So always getting yourself prepared, getting the programs right up, research on the program so that you have programs that are ready for clients. Okay. Then comes planning out your whole marketing plan, and being able to conduct the sales meeting so that you can sell your training programs and sell yourself as a trainer, as a coach. So yes, once you have acquired the necessary skills, credentials, certifications, next is about getting prepared with what you want to offer to the market, and then come up with your marketing plan, your business plan, and then acting on it to find your clients. Yeah. All right, these will be some of the first major challenges. So, yeah, if you already have a marketing background, if you have a business background, then obviously you need to start off with your business plan. You need to decide what are your pricing strategies. You need to find out, you know, who else is out there in the market offering similar services, and from there, what is it that you bring to your client that is uniquely you, all right, or as Aloysius would call it, your niche. All right. So, and then developing your marketing plans, and then go about doing your selling. Yep. See, hard work. All right. I hope that answers your question. Okay, how do you overcome it? Like I said, having the right training. And oh, here's the other thing. See, we're talking about being trainers, being coaches, right? Do you yourself have trainers? Do you yourself have coaches? Do you have a mentor, someone who can help you develop you along the way? All right. So first thing first, coaching, mentoring, two different things. Coaching is specifically, if I'm your coach, I will coach you on how to deliver your training. All right, but when I'm your mentor, then I'm going to be working with you on a longer term basis that goes beyond just developing your skills, but take you from from step one to intermediate, and then to advanced level, while working on you as well in developing your personalities and everything else, right? Coaching will be then more specific to skills based, or whichever you like to focus on. All right. So I think the main challenge for a lot of new trainers and coaches is that if you only want to train and want to coach, and you do not want to do the business and the marketing, so you either get someone else to team up with you, employ people to get the contracts and the clients for you, or you got to do it yourself, and must be willing to do it yourself, because you can have the best training program in the world. If nobody wants to buy your program, nobody comes to attend your program, nobody will benefit from it. And not that nobody, and that includes you. You are not going to benefit from it as well. Okay, here's a comment from Kit. I have been asked this. Maybe you can share your thoughts. With more NLP trainers in the market, How do you differentiate BKI NLP training from others? Okay, it's an interesting question. Yeah, NLP of late has also surged in terms of popularity due to the COVID-19 situation, where a lot of people face new challenges, facing uncertainty, experiencing stress, as well as other negative emotions of insecurity, anxiety, depression, and not to mention that some businesses are also suffering and that retrenchment is taking place, laying off is taking place. Yeah, so along with this comes these challenges, and hence now all the more need for coaches and therapists. Okay, so with so many, okay, first of all, NLP was founded in the 70s. It has been it's been a good 50 over years now. Is it been a good 50 years now? And like I just mentioned, recently there's another surge of popularity and demand. So the demand will always be there, even though I think by now millions of people worldwide are already certified in NLP at the practitioner level. The practitioner level is the first level. All right, but not that many is in a master practitioner level. Certainly not many are trainers. I think how we differentiate our training, first of all, is we use NLP to teach NLP. All right, so NLP is neuro-linguistic programming. It's a study of how successful people achieve success in the different areas of their lives. And so therefore, learning is definitely one of them. I mean, if you can get very successful in learning, then I think that points you up and set you up to succeed even better, right? So here, the difference is that I come from a business background. So we offer to our corporate companies a lot of soft skills training programs, and they range from the leadership, like I mentioned earlier on, negotiation, presentation skills, trainers training now, coaching skills, selling skills, creative thinking, and so on and so forth. So the whole repertoire of soft skills. I think one of the major difference is our ability to relate and equip our participants, our students, with the ability to creatively apply the NLP they learn from us in the various aspects of their life. And we're talking beyond therapy context, beyond coaching context, right? How can you use an NLP technique in sales, for instance? How can you use an NLP technique in negotiation? How can you use yet another NLP technique in coaching? How can you use this for yourself? So one of the major differentiator, one of which is our courseware and our program design. Yes, there are standards that we have to follow. All right. So, but beyond and above those standards, we bring to the table the application bit that I think is quite lacking in some other NLP trainers, NLP training. Yeah. So they either are certified as NLP trainers and hence they can run the certification courses in practitioner, master practitioner, but they may be lacking in some industry experiences, business experiences, right? And this is something special that we bring. Over and above that, we don't just do NLP training per se to certify people to become coaches and master coaches or trainers, master trainers, but that we ourselves are involved in a lot of coaching. So it's always about sharpening our saw. All right. So we bring to the table combined. We're talking about centuries of experiences, real life coaching experiences, and the way we creatively apply NLP in all the different aspects of life. That would be one significant difference that we bring to our students. Another thing is that we are very particular about teaching the techniques right. Yeah. So with us, you can be assured that you will be getting the best, if not one of the best NLP training in the world. Okay. Hello, Veronica and Aloysius. There comes another question. How do you pick topics to speak on as a new speaker? Best for them to be topical. Okay, I think it's the same thing, right? Like if when you become a trainer, when you become a coach, when you become a speaker, what are you going to speak on? What are you going to be training people in? What are you going to be coaching people in, right? And I think the first thing that will come to mind would be what you yourself is good at, right? You're passionate about the topic, you have sufficient knowledge, credentials within the area. I think those will be the first topics that you want to be focusing on. For instance, 24 years ago, when I first got started, my background was in sales. Although I've been in marketing department, in HR departments along the way, with companies of different sizes. So there was a time I worked in organizations. And so my background being in sales, so one of the first training program that I developed the moment I decide that I want to become a professional trainer, of course, go through the steps of setting up the business first, is to research and then develop a sales training program. So that was my first training program, and that is my sales training program. And from there, I branch out to things that are relevant. So I get into customer service. All right. And of course, still looking at enhancing the sales training program and so forth. Then I have clients who come to me and tell me that, hey, you did the training you did the sales training with our team. They like the training very much. In fact, they like how you train. Now, Billy, do you teach this? Do you teach this? Do you teach this? And from there, that's how I went. On to expand my offerings. As of today, I think we have more than 100 training programs, soft skills training programs made available to corporate companies. Yeah. So I started from what I was doing, where I had the most experience in the topic that I'm most passionate about. You have to know what you're talking about, all right, if you're going to be speaking about it and training people in it. Yeah. All right. So I think definitely you have to have your topics. You have to have your content well written out properly. You have to have your program designed properly so that you can offer it to the clients who may be looking for the programs. All right. Otherwise, if the client have a request, you can obviously also then research and develop programs. Right. So there will be times that you're doing a lot of R&D yourself, a lot of reading, a lot of testing, a lot of polishing up. All right. But you got to develop your programs. You got to have a product to sell. All right. So start with the topics you're most familiar with, the ones that you are most knowledgeable in, the ones that you have the most credentials and credibilities in. Yep. All right. So again, good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Let me scroll down and see what other questions. Thank you for the like and share. All right. Let me see. Okay. I'm just gonna call you KK, okay? Because I don't know how to pronounce your name. I don't want to pronounce it wrong. All right, question here. What do I need to develop to become a wellness coach? Wellness coach is primarily focusing physically, right? Okay. These days, wellness coach goes beyond just the physical aspects of looking good, and that the person must think right. Having the right mental attitude, got to groom the belief systems, the mental resilience, the emotional resilience as well, in order to develop overall wholesome wellness. Right? Okay. So what do I need to do to develop to become? I think first of all you need to have knowledge in the area of wellness. All right. And I just mentioned a few areas. So which area will you be specifically focusing on? What kind of wellness are we talking about? Right. So you need to get yourself equipped with knowledge, if not with credibility and credentials. For instance, I know of wellness coach who first took a training like an NLP certification training to learn the skills of coaching, and then went on to take a training on let's say nutrition, right? And then blend it together and then become a wellness coach, right? I know of people who are physical fitness trainers, the trainers who works in the gym and who wants to go wider into an area of wellness. All right, so they obviously already have the technical skills and knowledge required. That means, how you build your muscles, how you lose your weight, how you do your exercises and so forth. Then what they need would be the coaching skills. All right. So just because you are good at the topic does not make you automatically a good coach. All right. But similarly, uh, or by the same token, a great coach must obviously have the coaching skills and know the subject matter. All right. Although you don't have to be the best striker to be able to coach the best striker. I mean, think Manchester United. Sir Alex Ferguson was their coach, was their manager. I don't know about his personal footballing career, but I think he wasn't a very prominent or an excellent super player when he was playing soccer himself. But obviously, he needs to know soccer. And what happened was he was able to groom the best defenders. He was able to groom and coach the best goalkeepers. All right. So I think you need to have the relevant subject matter knowledge. The width as well as the depth. All right. And add on to that, when you're coaching, then you need to have coaching skills. Right. It's scary when people go around asking for advices from people who will give them advices but are not trained to be coaches themselves. So that can be tricky. Okay, so subject matter knowledge definitely important, and then the coaching skills. Okay, let me see. Now, Alan, this is a long one. Okay, with more and more trainers out there, I have heard many times being able to sell oneself as a trainer and coach is very important. All right, so yes, my immediate response is you got to be able to market yourself, you got to be able to market your programs, right? Okay, so my question is, how can new trainers and coaches be able to build themselves up both professionally and personally? Okay, obviously, journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. All right, so like I said, get the fundamentals right. Get yourself the right training. Start working on your programs. Start checking on what's happening in the market. Where are the demand? Who are the other people who are in the same niche area, specialty area, or subject matter area. Start developing your programs and be willing to work on your business plan and your marketing plan and go about promoting and selling your program. All right. So be prepared to do a lot of legwork. Be prepared to do a lot of marketing activities, selling activities for a start, because people don't know you. All right. But what's important is, hence I emphasize having the right training first, so that you acquire the right skills, and that you have the subject matter expertise. Because from here, you're going to be selling to so many people in order to just get one contract. You got to make that contract count. You got to make that training count. All right. And that can only count from the right training skills you have and your subject matter expertise and knowledge. All right. And it's from there that, word of mouth and all that can go on. I'm a believer that you can do 100 good training programs and maybe one person talk about it. But if you were to do one bad one, very soon 100 people is going to talk about it. Yeah. So we, for instance, as an organization, my team and I, all our trainers, our coaches, we will not take on any assignment unless we know that we can deliver the objectives. Unless we know that we are great at delivering those objectives. Yeah. Okay, let me see. With the right strategy and with integrity as well at the same time. Yeah, big word, right? Okay, so with the right strategy, I definitely agree. And definitely the right traits, the right personality traits and character. Integrity being one of them. Yeah. Because I think it's going to be a marathon. We're thinking of this in terms of a career, not just a job, right? So it's going to be a lifelong thing. All right. So definitely you have to be developing yourself as well, your own personalities and characteristics. Yeah. Okay, so you already pinpoint some of the answers there. Right strategy, building up yourself, your personal traits and personalities, and then do a lot of legwork. Really do a lot of legwork. It took me 7 months marketing, doing getting myself exposed, doing a lot of free workshops, speeches, approaching a lot of prospects and customers, at the same time developing and then writing out, drafting, designing new training programs and all before I land my first training deal, right? Which is a sales training. See, that's my first program, right? Which is the first training. Okay, Mindy asks, which is more challenging, speaker, trainer, or coach? Okay, I would say personally now, training is already a well-established need in the professional market out there. All right, so companies are buying trainers, and also, you can just be a professional trainer on its own, and be very very busy, and earn a very good living for yourself and to provide for your families, right? Being a speaker per se, see, our market here, the need for keynote speakers and all, I think it probably only started more like 8 to 10 years ago. I mean, there's always been this need, all right, when companies run huge conferences and all. But previously, it was always an overseas speaker, an overseas professional speakers that companies will fly in, because the talents in this part of the world were relatively underdeveloped. Yeah. So if you are doing purely speaking per se in this part of the world, I would say that the market is not as big as I think it should be, and that it can be quite limited. So I would recommend that you supplement it with training. Yeah, and if you're already a trainer, I would say you supplement it with coaching. If you're already a coach, I would say you supplement it with training, because in the process of coaching, you do teach your clients, if they need additional skills to go about getting results during their coaching with you. Yeah. So speaking on its own, I don't know what you mean by challenging, but if you are talking in terms of getting bookings and opportunities to do that, platform speaking would be probably most challenging, because typically only very organizations which with a very large workforce will run conferences and events like that, where they require keynote speakers. Yeah, insurance industry runs it, a few times a year. They always have a kickstart, and then whereby thousands of people will attend, and then there is, I don't know, the first quarter push or some incentive, and then the last quarter push. And then along the way, there are incentives. So real estate companies, direct sales companies, insurance, these are the primary clients or purchasers for keynote speakers. And usually that means motivational talks, motivational speeches, leadership type speeches, mindset management type speeches, or selling skills related speeches. All right. So fortunately for myself, I started off as a trainer. And of course, then the background training I received in NLP, timeline therapy, hypnotherapy, and all that makes me took on coaching on the side. Remember, there was a time where I just got started, and nobody knows me. I got to be putting myself out there, so putting in a lot of leg work. And even as early as back then, 20 over years ago, I felt at that time that the market will become mature, and speaking will gain popularity. And so I started working and practicing on my own speaking skills, because it's different, standing on a platform, on a stage to do a 1 hour talk to thousands of people, versus doing a training session to like 50 people, or training session to 300 people, versus doing a one-to-one coaching, or a small focus group coaching. Requires different abilities, different skills. Yeah. So in terms of preference, I like all of them. Every one of them gives. Every one of them, very rewarding. Every one of them is satisfying as far as I'm concerned. So I love all of it. Yeah. All right. A quick hello to Joseph, to Mary, to Ramesh. And Mary has a question here. How do you better yourself? By doing post-mortem and doing a lot of books. Okay. First of all, lots of books. Yes, plenty of books. Yeah. I remember when I first got started, of course, started as in, when I first came out to work, I was already doing a lot of reading. Back then, we buy cassette tapes, and put into a Walkman as I was in a bus going to work. I've been listening to the gurus, the legends of the industry, the Zig Ziglar, the Earl Nightingale, and learning from all these gurus. So back then we use a lot of cassette tapes, and I'll listen and take notes. And I make it a point when I became a trainer. I remember I make it a point to read at least 8 books in a week. Every week, 8 books. Yeah, and so yeah, a lot of reading being done, because I think you need to go through a lot of gathering of material in order to in order to pull out certain materials that are useful and then put it into a training program. So yes, definitely a lot of reading. I didn't have the opportunity or the advantage of attending a trainer's training per se. But I had the benefits of working with trainers, because I was working as a coordinator for training companies that brought in trainers to run public programs. And so I'm doing coordination work, I'm sitting in. That means I get to attend all those training as well and work with the trainers behind the scene, asking a lot of questions. And I remember, for those who regularly travel to Singapore and engaged by the company that I was working with, because I would be have already been coordinating for their seminars and work with them quite closely and all that. At some point, I asked them, I say, can I do an introduction for you? Can I teach this segment for you? And so forth. And so I started bit by bit. All right. So how do I better myself? I think first of all, at the end of every session, we give out a feedback form where we want to get feedback from our participants. Yeah. All right. So 1 is coming from the participants. All right. 2 is tracking the results with if it's corporate training, then tracking results with our corporate clients. And thirdly is that I need to, before going into any training, I need to know what are the objectives, the key objectives to be achieved, right? As well as the level of performance that I expect myself to deliver, given whatever constraints that I may have. Sometimes I have a lot more things that I want to share, I want to teach, but my client will, cannot spare another day for training, right? So that's what I mean by the constraints. Yeah. So in my case, is at the end of every session, there is definitely an internal review where I review my own performance. I check whether I meet my client's objectives. I look at the feedback. Yeah. And so you can call it post-mortem. Yeah. I don't just depend on the feedback from the participants per se, but that I also do my own self-analysis. Yeah. And for me, at least, I think I'm harsher on myself than my participants would be. Yeah, and definitely doing a lot of reading and a lot of upgrading ourselves. In fact, for a long time, with the exception of the last couple of years, every year I would actually go for training myself. Every year I will go and take a training myself. All right, and that explains why, for those who know me, every time you want to talk to me and discuss any particular topics, somehow I seem to know something about the topics that you like to discuss. It's because every year I go for training myself, and so I pick different topics to widen my skills. I go in depth into topics, right? For years where I can't decide or I cannot find a training program that I like to attend or new things I like to learn, I would go back to the American Board of Hypnotherapy. I will go back to Timeline Therapy Association, the American Board of NLP, and offer myself as a coaching assistant or teaching assistant while they run their training programs there, so that I revise the things that I have learned before, as well as keeping myself updated. Yeah, because the nature of like NLP, for instance, as a topic, right? Once you become a trainer, you can certify practitioners and master practitioners, right? But because NLP is evolving, right? So I find that a lot when you are a trainer and you don't keep yourself abreast on new developments and all that, then you cannot continuously increase the value add you bring to your students and your participants. Yeah. So definitely plan your own learning as well. In fact, take skills inventory, right? Take out a piece of paper from where you are now to where you want to be, from who you are today to the version 1.1 of yourself, the version 2 of yourself. From here to that, what is required, right? Do your own gap analysis. What is required in terms of knowledge, skills, capabilities, credentials, uh, 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 extra knowledge and niche, all right? And then go about planning your own learning calendar and then acquiring these skills. Yeah. So this will be some of my recommendations. Yeah. You're a trainer, you tell people to go for training, take training yourself, right? Go for training yourself. Okay. So thank you for the compliment, Faisal. Yeah, it's been quite challenging lately. So my apologies for canceling or postponing last week's live stream because I'm delaying my surgery, and so the spine is acting up, the nerves are acting up. Okay, let me see. PK Andrew, NLP trainer in Myanmar. How can we use NLP skills in business and leadership? Wow, there's a variety of things we do. So I have we develop programs that's specific, like leadership program. We have leadership program per se, and we also have something I call applied NLP in leadership, where we put in significant NLP techniques and skills. All right, NLP skills in business now. In NLP, we have the 5-step sales process. NLP as a negotiation model. So those are definitely directly applicable in business. Yeah. In leadership, when we are dealing with leaders, we are teaching skills, we are teaching influencing skills, we are teaching communication skills, we are teaching skills for leaders to build rapport with their team members, to strengthen relationship. All right. And nowadays, leaders are required to take on the roles of coaches as well in grooming their people, in developing succession, in identifying talents, right? So that you keep people continuously engaged in their career, so that you continuously have meaningful career conversations and coaching sessions with your people. So definitely a lot of NLP skills can become useful. We have belief change that can change negative beliefs, turn limiting beliefs into liberating beliefs. We have techniques like anchoring some modalities to deal with negative emotions. We have we have chunking, we have hierarchy of ideas that can enhance creative thinking capabilities. So yeah, so there's definitely a lot of things we can use in NLP for businesses. In fact, I have a whole series. I have an applied NLP in sales. I've got applied NLP in human resource development, applied NLP in leadership. So almost every area you can think of. NLP skills can be used in training as well. So yeah, plentiful. All right, Andrew, that's a topic we can continue to discuss. And yes, I'm looking forward to training with you again for the next master practitioner intake in Myanmar once we have the travel restrictions all lifted. Okay, now Ellen has a message here about coaching. How would you explain to someone who have no experience, haven't experienced coaching before, about coaching, since many will usually misunderstood coaching with counseling therapy? Okay, actually, the word coaching, or at least in my context, in my definition, the word coaching encompasses and include many different roles. As a coach, you are a friend, you are a teacher, you are a trainer, you are a therapist, you are a counselor. So everything goes in, yeah. All right. It's just that when we use words like counseling, therapy, it presupposes that the client is broken and they need to be fixed. With coaching, it's more generative, it's more progressive. Although, yeah, in order to coach someone to achieve something, you still have to fix problems, right? So I like the word coaching better. All right. So I think you can explain to people, coaching includes all of these roles. Is primarily about bringing your clients from where they are now to where they want to go. All right, is helping your client by coaching them from the version 1.0 of them to become the version 2.0 of them. Is helping them upgrade their OS. Is helping them fix the immediate issues that they are facing. All right. If you also watch and follow my last live stream, I discussed about the SCORE model. You can use the SCORE model to identify symptoms, causes of problems, and then what outcome people want, and therefore where coaching can come in as a resource. Yeah. So so I would explain to people coaching is about bringing them from where they are to where they want to go, from the present state to a desired state, and then fixing the problems along the way. Yeah, most times people come with problems that they are already facing, and that's when they are seeking coaching. Yeah. Okay. Hello, Asna, and hello, Ashikin, and everyone. Okay. Let me see. Okay, Asna has a question. I have been an image consultant for almost 15 years, but I feel I am kind of stagnant. What should I do? Okay, Asna, depending on what capacity as a consultant you're in, because a trainer can be a consultant, a coach can be a consultant, right? So I guess like your case, for instance, answer some of the earlier question. You would have taken the training in image, right? You would have studied image as a subject matter, all right? And if your image consultant means you're giving training on image, then you need the training skills. Okay, so if you're talking about yourself as an image consultant for almost 15 years now and feeling kind of stagnant, question: have over the last 15 years, have you been going for training regularly yourself to constantly refresh yourself, to constantly update yourself? Because I believe that anytime you learn something new and you bring that something new back into what you are doing, you have given what you are doing new meaning, a new lease of life. All right, so it's about updating and all. So that said, like the masterclass trainer program that we developed, originally targeted at aspiring trainers, because back then there isn't such training programs around in this part of the world. We also have a lot of seasoned trainers who have been training for years, who also come to the masterclass trainer program to refresh themselves. So here's my take on it. At different times of your life, if you were to read the same book, you will learn something different. All right. So my question is, how and what have you been doing to refresh yourself? Right, so I definitely recommend that you do a skills inventory. So take a skills inventory, do a stock take on your skills and find out what is lacking. All right, and then take the necessary action to acquire the extra knowledge, credentials, refresh, update yourself. Yep. All right, Alan's comment noted: Billy, it's about one step at a time. It's a marathon, not a sprint. It's a career, not just a job. Learning so much this evening myself. Thank you so much, Billy. Oh, thank you for all the questions. Without your participation and questions and all that, I got nobody to share this with. All right. Yes, definitely one step at a time. However, work with urgency. Work with urgency, especially if you are self-employed as a trainer, speaker, and a coach. You have all the time in the world. I mean, nobody control your time. You got nobody to report to. You got no deadlines. You got to set your own deadlines. All right. Otherwise, you find that you settle and you become complacent, and that goes for the seasoned trainers and coaches who has been doing this for years already. Right, it's the same thing. All right, and yes, definitely it's a marathon. And what happens in a marathon is along the way you need to top up, right? Because you're going to perspire, you're going to lose the water. You need to top up, right? So along the way, top up with additional knowledge, additional credentials, widen, deepen the subject matter that you focused on. All right, so that you can provide more wholesome solutions and value add to your clients. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Mary, for the compliment. All right, I'm glad it is inspiring. See, though, that sparkle of the eye that we are looking for, right? Mm. Okay, so you have actually many times, meaning what, you have taken a lot of training along the way. Um, you know, are you expanding your offerings? Are you going more in depth into your offerings? Are you going and exploring into new markets, perhaps? Because I find that every time you add something new into what you are doing, you just created a new lease of life altogether. All right, and I think it's very important to not be too quick to decide that it is the end, because it could just be a band. You know what I mean, right? So continue to explore, continue to discover the reasons why you are doing what you are doing. Go back to the basics. 15 years ago when you started, 24 years ago when I started, what was it that I want? I wanted to motivate the world. And soon I discovered that there are people who doesn't want to be motivated, and I have to be respecting their wishes. But that doesn't stop me from setting myself a KPI. I want to do speeches, real speeches. I want to do training workshops. I want to coach 1 million people in my career, in my lifetime. And to date, I'm glad to report that I have exceeded that number. So now for me, moving forward is because a lot of the trainers that I've trained, a lot of coaches and speakers that I've trained, many of them are now rock stars. They are now superstars in the industry already, up and coming, energetic. They are now the generation that owns the stage, right? My role continuously now is being their mentor, is being their coach, to continuously guide them in the right direction, to continuously provide that listening ear, to continuously be their advisor, to be their coach, to be their mentor, and to continuously share new information, new skills, new knowledge to help them expand their capabilities. Uh, so if they are already a rock star, as a professional speaker now, then I want to take you to bigger stage. So for me now, that's pretty much what my role is. Over and above, still seeing clients for one-to-one coaching, family therapy, leadership coaching, executive coaching, as well as the corporate training. And of course, the same thing, the public training program of training trainers, certifying coaches, master coaches, and so forth. Yeah. Okay, let me see. Okay, Alan here. Just one last question for me, Billy. You can continue with the question. After many years in speaking, training, and coaching, if let's say given a chance, you were to start all over again, what is the one thing you would do differently? I think I would start developing a team earlier. Yeah. So for many years, I am solo. For many years, I pretty much live off the suitcase, traveling from one country to the next, doing what I call like training tour, very much like Michael Jackson would do a concert tour. So for a long time, it's been like that. I would like to create a team much earlier. Yeah, so that I have more trainers with me, I have more coaches with me, and collectively we could have done more. I could have done more. Not to forget that a lot of times I have people who will come to me aspiring to be a trainer, wanting to be a trainer, took a training program, joined my organization, promising me that we will grow the company together. Because in doing so, then they are with me day in day out. They travel with me. They know what's behind the scene. The coaching goes on. It's a 24/7 kind of thing. The mentoring is continuous. And then many of them with their own ambitions and all that will leave after a year and a half with me, after 2 years with me, after 3 years with me. They will leave and they will set up on their own. So if I don't know, but if I had developed the team much earlier, perhaps I would have a bigger team now. However, I'm very, very happy with my team now. I think there's a reason why they are still with me after all these years. And those who have to go, they will just go lah. All right. So I hope that answers your question. So if I were to start all over again, was one thing I would do differently. I would actually continue doing what I'm doing, except that perhaps more aggressive in developing team. Yeah, that would be the one thing I would do differently. Beyond that, I am happy with what it is. Yeah. Kit has a message. Thank you for empowering me to do what I do. Never thought back in 2009 that I would ever become an NLP trainer, let alone master trainer. Would not have gotten here without your support and encouragement. Well, thank you for giving me the honor, and thank you for being such a great team member, business partner, and a dear friend. Kit started back in 2009. I think it was a newspaper article and advertisement that we put up where we were hosting a preview on NLP, or was it me talking on the radio show or something? So Kit came for the preview and never left. She joined the practitioner class, the master class, trained the trainer, the master practitioner training, and then join us in the organization, in the team. She is the one that spearheaded our break in Dubai market. She helps me expand into Myanmar market. She's our country director in Malaysia, and she basically takes care of everything now. Yeah, and I'm just behind the scene. Yeah, so never thought you'd become a trainer. Not only are you a trainer, you are an excellent trainer. From all the feedback that we have gathered and all those sparkles, those smile, those aha moments I can see on the faces of your students. Kit, you have done a marvelous job. And yes, Kit is the first certified NLP master trainer, the first lady to be certified as an NLP master trainer by the two largest and most prestigious NLP certifying boards in the world, namely the American Board of NLP and NLP University at the University of California in Santa Cruz. She's the first female NLP master trainer to be certified by the two largest and most prestigious NLP certifying boards in the world. So definitely you come a long way. Yeah. And I'm just doing what I'm doing. So yes, for those of you who are already existing trainers, you've been out there doing training, coaching, and speaking. If you're ever thinking of seeking a breakthrough and all that, drop me a message. We talk. Yeah. Okay, Alan's message: leave a legacy. Well, I hope that you are all, the coaches, the trainers that we have trained will in turn pay it forward and reach out to more people, because there will be people who will never be my coaching client. There will be people who will never be my audience. All right. But if they are your audience, if they are your clients, and that what I have shared with you have in turn been utilized by you to add value to other people, then that's mission accomplished, both on my part as well as your part. Yeah. And yeah, okay, let's look at what other messages and all. If not, then okay, here's a message from Mindy. Thank goodness bump into Billy, now empowering more people. Yep. My task now is really to empower you so that you too can empower others. I've got my fair share of platform. I got my fair share of large audience, standing ovations, traveling in style, um, yeah, meeting some of the best people in the world. Yeah, and all the friendships that I've forged and everything. It's been a blessing. Yeah, it's been a blessing, and so I have to be a blessing to others, and I hope more to come. Yeah, there you go. Ashley Keane, yeah, see, that's the affirmation right there. Kit is a great coach. Yeah, she's a great coach. And a message from Aloysius as well. Thanks for empowering all of us to do what we loved and love what we do. Would not have been possible without your vision and dream. Okay, I'm just a simple trainer doing things to the best of my abilities, right? And I think Aloysius, in your case, all thanks to Kit, who was the bridge who connected you to the team and to our training, and it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure. And I'll remember the time when you're in Singapore, and that we took a selfie together. All right, Dylan. Thank you for joining us this evening. Here's another one. Kit is one of the reason I'm still doing what I do. The Iron Superwoman. There you go. See, yep. I think our training would have gone. If it's left to me on my own, there's only so much I can do. One is too small a number to achieve greatness. And thankfully, I have a great friend in Kit and a great business partner in Kit, who is also a great coach and a great master trainer to so many more people. All right, Veronica, lucky to have learned from you and Kit. Pray that we stay well and healthy. Well, we pray that you stay well and healthy and put what you learn into good use. While you said you're lucky to learn from myself and Kit, we are lucky to have you. It's a privilege. It's an honor. All right. So with that, please note that this video will be uploaded onto our YouTube channel. Now, the YouTube channel, I'm really hoping to grow that channel. I got only I very few subscribers, so please join us in our YouTube channel, subscribe, click the notification bell, and comment. Like for instance, if you have some more questions with regard to what we discussed this evening, and because of time or that the question pop up later, feel free to comment on the video, because I'll make it a point to reply. All right, and so suggestions for future topics and comment and all, please come join us in our YouTube channel. All right, we are of course also on Instagram and Facebook, this particular page, and LinkedIn. All right, so I'm really looking to grow the YouTube channel, and I need all your support. I need all your help to grow the channel, right? So that I can, like I said, I'll be taking a break from this regular live stream. I'm hoping in between I will do small little training segments and upload it directly onto YouTube. So be the first to get it by clicking on the notification bell. Yeah. Oh, all of you are so nice with all your compliments. I have to share this on Mindy. I feel ever so fortunate to have been trained by both of us. If only I broke through my limiting beliefs much earlier. Well, it's never too late, right? And always is a delight having you, Mindy. You have been such a contributor. I mean, within the graduates, the alumni page that we have on Facebook, where only the certified trainers and coaches get to join. You have been a blessing there. You have shared so many resources, useful resources for coaching and training. So for that, we thank you. And likewise, it's an honor and a privilege to have you in our class and to be able to share with you what we know. All right, so good night, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening. And remember, I'll see you at YouTube, all right, in our channel. Good night. Bye-bye.